Good morning and welcome back. It is now June 10th. Beautiful morning out here. Potential for a really nice day with a high in the low 20s, which would be nice. It seems like we've been very cool so far this spring in compared to last year, which is starting to affect the development of some crops like corn. But I'm out here in a canola field right now. Let's take a look and see what's changed since last week. After that little bit of moisture we got in the Nobleford area last week, we are seeing much better germination and emergence in a lot of the canola fields. So this one is kind of in between, cotyledon stage up to 2-leaf stage, and it's coming along pretty good now. You can see we have some rows developing. We also have some pretty big flushes of weeds. There's lots of kochia coming up here. There's buckwheat and morning glory in a few spots in the field, a little bit of downy brome. But the canola itself is looking pretty good. No sign of flea beetle damage or cutworms in this field at all. But of course, we just keep watching. You can see we've got a couple late emergers coming up here, filling the gaps in these rows here. I got a cool new product to put in the plot trials today. This is Agrarius. This is a product that's made in Canada. It's a 2-part system. This pouch basically contains 50 acres worth of product. So it is a very concentrated PGPR, which is in kind of a pill form here. So this little vial covers 50 acres combined with this pouch of dry humic acid. So this is a really interesting product. They're guaranteeing it with a performance guarantee. If it makes you more than $40 an acre in increased yield or profit, then you pay for the product. When you pick it up, it is not invoiced to you until fall basically, and if it's a break even or it does not show any performance benefits, then the product is free. So this would be interesting to get out there. We got about 600 acres of this product in the office in 50-acre bags, so if you want to try it out, get on it, because now is the time. It is good from herbicide timing up through flag leaf. Here we have some younger barley with some wireworm damage on it. At this point, a lot of our seed treatments have basically worn off for wireworms, so you can expect to see a little bit of feeding along the lines of this. So you can see that coleoptile under the ground there, basically that stem has been hollowed out and fed upon, and that is causing the upper to look very, very stressed. So these are 2 plants side by side. The plants beside them look fine. I did not find the wireworm, but it'll be there somewhere. Lots of these canola fields have grown significantly since last week. You can see we have a beautiful stand here, and we're mostly in the 2 to 3 leaf stage with more leaves emerging every day in here. At this point, it also becomes a lot easier to see cutworm damage in the field when the leaves start to get this big. Typically, cutworms are not going to do a whole lot of damage to plants. Once they get this size, they can still take them down, but generally they tend to just trim off a leaf or two. And if you see those leaves on the ground, silver side up, or going limp and desiccating in the field, at this size it's a little bit more obvious. It's easier to spot, but right now I'm not seeing anything in this field. It is looking pretty good. We do have the odd gap in the road here and there, but mostly that's due to shallow dry seed, and some of those are still emerging, like some of these little guys down here. Here today we got an operator just setting up with the DJI T40. We were actually spraying some Cal Air calcium product on some potatoes, so we'll see how this goes. I'll show some video of it in progress. So takeoff procedure. Crazy to see something the size of a quad flying through the sky like that, just 12 or 20 feet overhead. Here in this dryland canola corner, you can see we have some spray drift issues here. So it looks like this drift came across the road from the north, probably a product like Tundra that included Infinity and probably did not have interlock mixed with it. So you can see our canola leaves are kind of bleaching, turning white, but the new growth still looks relatively healthy. We still have healthy growing points, so this is not going to be lethal to them. It might knock them back, slow them down a little bit here, but they'll come out of it. Had the exact same thing happen last year. I've seen it many times before. As long as they're not pure white and burned down, they will regrow. Here in this spot, you can see some of the results of last week's wind, or rather can't see the results of last week's wind. We had some significant erosion of some of this potato stubble in a few spots. You can see we still have a few canola plants here. However, they look pretty beaten up. You can see where the leaves have been desiccated from last week. But for the vast majority of this area, there's pretty much no canola to be found. It was just sandblasted completely away. So we might be able to come in here yet and seed a little bit more, but it's going to be pretty thin if we leave it as is. Well, the corn is looking really good this week. Very good emergence compared to last week, where there was just a few starting to break the surface. But we do have a pretty good amount of weeds coming up. You can see we got a whole pile of lamb's quarters here. Some areas of the field, especially in the dryland corners, there's very high amounts of kochia. So corn is really not very tolerant of weed competition, especially in early growth stages. You can see we've got a bunch of buckwheat there as well. So we're going to come in here, hit this right away. We're going to try out some of that new Tough EC from Belgium Crop Products, which is supposed to have some good kochia control, which is usually one of the harder weeds to control in corn. Here in the dryland corner of a barley field, you can see we've got some alfalfa. This is volunteer alfalfa that is rapidly burning off. This field was sprayed with Talinor about 8 days ago, and you can see we're having decent effect on a lot of the top growth on the alfalfa, burning off some of that growth. However, once you get down to the crowns, you'll see we're still fine. So we're just going to have, some season-long suppression on this more than likely. It's still a little bit early for some of the group 6 symptoms to be really showing up. But you can also see this Canada thistle we've smoked pretty good. Lots of the smaller Canada thistles. Looks like we're going to get really good top growth control on these guys. You can see some of the growing points on them are all yellowed off. So we'll see how these look in another week or so. But right now it's looking pretty good. Got my other set of small plots sprayed today. Things here are looking pretty good. Everything's pretty similar. Can't see any real visual differences across the board on any of these plots. Once again, I did the ATP relief for herbicide timing in here. I did the super crop from Nature's Aid. I also did a Proliant plot. And new in this one, I added in Yieldmax and EZ-Gro Max from Nexus Bioag. So we'll see how those guys go. This is a cytokinin product with a bunch of different salicylic acids, vitamins, gibberellic acid, and then the Yieldmax, which is a 10-10-10 with micros. And I applied that at the 3 liter per acre rate. So we'll have to see how that goes. The actual plants themselves, when I dig them up and look, this is not a super fair comparison. It ran out of water, did not have enough to finish washing things out. But here we got Humaterra, Control, Nature's Aid, Phycoterra. We've got ATP, and our combo number 1, which in this field is Humaterra plus Nature's Aid. All of them are all looking pretty good. I didn't have enough water left to wash the Control, and that might be why it looks a little worse than the others, but we'll see. As time goes on in here and we start to head into stem elongation, we will hopefully see more of a difference. Well, my sorghum field is making slow progress. It's been very dry here, and there's been pretty poor germination so far. There's a couple you can see starting to come up here, but a lot of that seed is still sitting, in some pretty dry soil conditions. So we're just not seeing a great stand here at this time. But hopefully it improves. We really need a shower down here to get things going. Here's a good spot right here. See, we got 3, 4, 5 of them up, but you can still see a seed sitting shallow here. Another one here. So need to get some rain. Well, here's the area of that durum field that you saw blowing so bad in last week's video. I was really worried that there was going to be basically no stand at all left in this spot, but it's actually not too bad. So most of it is, 2 pushing 3 leaf stage. You can see it is very, very stressed. A lot of the leaves are kind of dry, desiccated. We definitely need some moisture here. Lots of sandblasting action on these leaves, but there is a stand here, which is more than what I expected it to be. This nice looking barley field over here has a bit of a thin spot along the edge, and as you can see, it is absolutely full of kochia. So this is a poor area of the field, and this was sprayed with Epic and Oxbow about 5 days ago, and you can see we're already having an excellent effect on the weeds in here. All of this kochia is all yellowing, curling, cupping, and going down. So I think weed control in here is going to be excellent, but we will definitely know more in about a week. It's pretty hard to assess the fatality of a herbicide within a week of it being applied. Generally it takes up to 2 weeks before you can see the full symptoms. Well, it's Friday now. It looks like the forecast for the weekend shows we might have a chance of some rain, especially on Sunday, which would be great. We got a lot of dryland fields like this one here behind me that could sorely use a drink of water. So even though it is in much better condition than it was this time last year. So that'll be it for this week. We'll see you next week.